Okay, so I'm actually going to just start out by cutting open the box. I got my trusty blade here. I'm just going to use it. I haven't opened this at all yet, so it's going to be my first time seeing how they package this. Everybody's been kind of waiting to see what it looks like. See that they put a fragile handle with care stick on here. Alright, so I'm probably going to have some extra shots of stuff close up at some point, but you can see that they've included congratulations on your Crane 3D printer. And that's nice of them. And they've just got an invoice sheet. Nothing really important there. Though I do see that they've got some initials or something right next to the Crane tuning, which I did pay for. So maybe that's initials for somebody who did it. I think that's my assumption. Alright. So, you can see the box isn't really professionally wrapped up. Looks like they just kind of have a lot of foam in here, padding up the edges, some kind of thin stuff at the top, some more thin stuff. It's just kind of loosely sitting in here, it's not really doing anything. So I do see some tighter foam. It's definitely holding the printer still, at least. You can see that the printer's been wrapped in some plastic wrap here. Start out by pulling out these foam blocks, which again just look like they were cut off of existing foam. Nothing really professional. That one actually had chunks flying off of it. So if you're wondering how your stuff was shipped, if it's anything like mine, you know, just random chunks of foam shoved in there to hold it. So not exactly the most professional fit, but I don't know if I was really expecting any better. And then printer is just kind of all wrapped up together. It's very tight though. I think this whole thing is extremely stable. At least the fine tuning hopefully didn't get undone. And the bottom of the box is literally just another very thin foam sheet. So I'll throw this off to the side. So I'm going to go by cutting open the plastic wrap carefully so I don't scratch anything. I'm actually already noticing a couple of things that I want to take a closer look at. It was very tightly wrapped at least. Alright, so first thing here in the box. I'm going to take a quick look to see what it is. Probably small tools and extra bits, if any of my other 3D printers give me this. Oh yeah, I actually see a 3D printed part here. Not really entirely sure what this is. Maybe it's part of the filament roll mount or something. Or if it could just be a test print, you know, to show the blending. I do see color blending on this, and sorry if my camera isn't focusing properly. But it's a pretty high quality print though, I'm not gonna lie, it does look very clean. Even in comparison to some of my CR10 prints that are very good. So hopefully that's a testament to how good this was tuned. Oh, and I do see a very CR10-esque mount for the filament roll. Very similar. Looks identical actually. I wonder if they actually got this from Creality. And it's got a bolt on it that makes it look like it was definitely designed to go on the top. On the extrusion for the top beam. We've got sorted wrenches, which is what I expected. binder clips, so probably for holding on the bed. Micro SD card, it is a whopping 512 megabytes, so pretty much probably not going to use that at all, unless it's got data on it that I need to get the printer going. And we have a very small micro SD card reader, which is actually kind of nice, even though I have 1,000. This is the LCD and SD card reader, and possibly the main control board. Not really sure, but I will admit it does look kind of nice. The chrome M3D logo and a nice chromified, possibly aluminum dial here, and it feels very nice for the clicking. So that's pretty cool. Power cord is typical, and one bolt, which I'm not exactly sure what it's for. My assumption would be, oh, here is the reason. Okay, probably also goes to the filament mount. I'm going to put some of this stuff back just so it's not in my way. I am very pleased with the quality of this print, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it is actually very clean. It looks like it was printed at somewhere between 1.5 millimeters and 2.2 rather, 0.15 or 0.2. Alright, on to more of the printer. So I'm going to try not to undo too much of the cleaning bit done. Well, I can see the main control board underneath and the power supply. This is definitely the gantry. We've got some bubble wrap shoved under here, probably to stabilize it, but it's not otherwise held still. Granted, most of this wrap seem to have been doing a pretty good job. I do really like the vertical posts for the rail here. The design interests me. See the Z stub, I've got a power switch right here and the power output. So this is already wired into the control box, so I wouldn't recommend letting this thing drop. Otherwise you'll tear these wires out. But they are wrapped up fairly nice. Didn't really expect much better for this particular printer. I want you guys to know that I actually waited quite a long time for this. I ordered it back in June. I had the batch 1. And I got my final checkout somewhere in October, I think the beginning of October. And then I just received the printer a few days ago, after getting confirmation about a week before that it's being shipped. Trying not to cut any main wires. I've got this wrapped up pretty well though. I'm just using a cheap table right now. I set this up pretty quickly. I want to make sure people can get a view of this printer, especially since I know some of the people, including batch 1, are waiting to see it. Alright, it looks like a typical gantry for a 3D printer. Very similar to a CR10 or an Ender 3. Ooh, okay. We got a nice crane by M3D logo at the top. I can't really move it any closer because it is connected to the base, but it is pretty cool looking. It's very nice. It's got plastic covering it too, so you didn't get damaged in shipping. And this is my first time taking a look at the print head here. It's a very interesting design. The wires are all designed with breakaway connectors here. Nothing is hardwired, which can be a good thing. The fan mounts are 3D printed. Not exactly the best quality I've seen either, but they do at least look functional. I hope it's ABS so that they don't melt. I'm going to assume they are ABS or PETG. I'm definitely going to assume that because the printer's already been run. It had the fine tuning, and I can clearly see there is test filament here. There's no silicone sock or covering on the heat block, so I don't know how well the heat control is going to be for that. But let's see. The bolts are already bolted into the bottom, so I'm just going to take those off and put them on. Should be able to do it by hand. Here we go. This design is very similar to, you know, typical printer of this style. Got the 2020 extrusions, or 2040 rather. Gantry itself looks identical to the Creality series printers. Just taking out these bolts right now. I know this thing came with tools. I don't usually like using the ones that come with it. So I will use my trusty iFixit kit, which honestly is probably the best tool set I've ever had. Very high quality. I'm not sponsored by them, nor have they paid me, but I will say that they are the highest quality precision tools I've ever owned. Well, I'd like to use this toolkit, but I'm not actually be able to. I don't think it goes up to the size. That's oh, yep, I do. Okay, cool. So in case anyone's wondering, that's a Torx T25H. Move my knife so I don't scratch myself. Okay. This is definitely the front of this printer. This is definitely like an acrylic cutout piece for the ZN stop. It's not 3D printed, so that's kind of nice. I'm going to tilt this on its side now, so I can put this on. Don't worry, I'll have some B-roll shots, close-ups and such of the printer that you guys can see during this video as well. I wasn't intending to do a basic assembly in this video, but since it seemed to unpack pretty easily, and I know how to put a printer together, I figured I might as well just do it in the same video. Give the people what they want. Alright. Flip it the other way. I like the big rubber feet on the bottom. I feel like they absorb quite a lot of shock. Hopefully reduce some of the imperfections in the prints due to vibration. I didn't quite get this in the right spot. That's what happens when you tighten the other side first too much. Okay. Now I'm going to tighten this down as much as I can. never like to over-tighten things. I like to be very snug, but if I over-tighten things, I tend to find out later that it's hard to get apart, or I end up stripping the bolts or the threads. Okay, that's pretty solid. It was as solid as you could expect. Ow. So that Crane logo plate on the top is actually kind of sharp, so just be careful when you're grabbing the top gantry, because it seems like it wasn't a polished off piece, just straight cut from a lathe or something. Some kind of cutter. Whatever they do with their new handheld machines. Looks like the base plate here is just kind of taped down right now, and it's not glass. I thought I ordered glass. I'll have to check my order, but maybe I didn't. Doesn't matter, I've got plenty of mirrors and such that I can cut. Just be careful if you're cutting glass. Make sure you're doing it with gloves on and safety goggles in case you break it and shards fly off or you slice your finger. I've done it before, it's not fun. Alright, this is not entirely sure actually. Acrylic maybe? I didn't really pay attention to what it was made from. It's got some kind of protective coating on it already, but maybe it's BEI. Definitely not glass, that's for sure. And it's also hand cut. The edges are very different. They're all very unevenly cut, so. There's also something dripped on the printer here. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Someone drooled or spilt their coffee. Can't quite tell which. It actually does kind of look like coffee. So I'm assuming the guy who was doing the fine tuning was heavily caffeinated. Or those binder clips. If you're hearing weird noises, I have a cat. And she's got a chronic congestive issue, so she's always sneezing. Assuming that's the top. Doesn't appear to be plastic on the other side. It is cut to the size of the bed at least. It's just not perfectly cut. Overall, the printer looks precisely like what I expected. It's unfortunate that M3D played bait and switch by selling the batch ones, and then while the batch ones were all waiting for their printers, coming out with an eager enthusiast, while greatly more expensive, it lowered the value of being a batch one because we were supposed to get them first. But even though I got it 3 months late, I still got it, so I guess I can't complain. There's other crowdfunding systems that have never even been received by people, so it's better than nothing. Wow, I will say that it does seem like it was tuned. You got a little bit of play in some of these wheels, but it seems like it's probably just about perfect. At least it's around the tension that I would have set it to myself. There's some, looks like, residue on the wheels, and it's not grease. So I legitimately think somebody spilled their coffee on this printer. That's no fun. That isn't really making me happy. Okay. So I might power it on at least. Hey, that's my base. case you guys are wondering why there's a random door behind me. It's actually a door to my porch, which I've converted to an outdoor workshop type thing. It's winterized, so it's heated. It used to be a screen porch, now it's my workshop. I'll wait for this. On. There's no mounting pieces for this. I assume the 2 screws that I'm seeing right here are what that's for. Okay. In case you're wondering, there are 2 bolts or screws in the front of those 2 extrusions, and that looks like it's where the screen goes. I'm sure there were supposed to be instructions, but there aren't. So I think they're probably online instructions only. If it just got brighter, it's because my cat's now on my desk and he turned my computer on. Sneezy kitty. Yeah, my camera has definitely moved since I started. Just trying to find the right size. I'm usually pretty good at finding them. I just find that using the screwdriver type Allen wrenches are a lot faster. So sometimes you need more torque. There's 2 plugs here. There's no designation as to which one goes where. So I literally don't know which one goes where. Looks like it's going to be a trial and error type thing. Got EXP1 and EXP2. And of course I'm too lazy to actually go online and look at the instructions. So we'll see which one's which. Either it will turn on when it's supposed to or it won't. Oh hey, actually, I'm kind of dumb because there's actually numbers on the wires. Roman numerals. So I'm swinging 1 and 2. And coincidentally I put them in the right slots, so yay. I do like the angle of the screen. Oops. It's a good angle. Some of them are built with the screens very vertical, so you can't really see. Check voltage. Well, I'm going to assume that quality control checked voltage for me. That's the whole point. Alright, my cord doesn't quite reach, so I may have to improvise. If you guys see a cut in the video, it's because I probably went to get an extension cord. And it lives. Alright. See if the screen is on. And that is all. Just a blue screen. No data otherwise. Alright, I'm going to take the assumption that I plugged the cables into the wrong sides. I know I don't have anything else plugged in yet, but it should be working just fine. Looks like maybe they marked the cables wrong. No, they did not. Mostly because, no, it's not powering on at all. Maybe everything has to be plugged in for the printer to boot up properly, which doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll see. Z. I'm just plugging in the stepper motors and the end stop right now. Sorry if it's a little off screen. It's hard to move the camera and do this at the same time. I'll have multiple camera views in the next one I do, which will be pretty soon. Just wanted to get this out of the way because I actually want to use it. I mean, it looks like the only things you really have to plug in are the Z end stop and the Z stepper. Everything else has already been plugged in. So I can't think of any reason why the screen is blank. I'll give it a minute, maybe it just takes a little while to boot up. So yeah, I was an idiot. So after checking on the Discord, which is a very helpful resource if you are trying to figure this printer out or get any information about your orders or anything like that, apparently the SD card that I mentioned earlier, 512 megabytes, that I said I would only use if it was needed for some reason, is very needed. It is the firmware or operating system of the printer. So it needs to be installed in the micro SD slot before you start using the printer. After I installed it, I was able to get it booted up instantaneously, which I'll show you guys. And that explains why there's an SD card slot on the screen mount and a micro SD card slot on the main board here. So here we go. I'm going to power it on again so you guys can see. So comes up instantaneously. Very quick boot. I don't know if you guys can see what's on the screen. I'll definitely take some close-up video of it after. We have a very nice display. I'm going to cut to that right now. Okay guys, so we can see the screen is now on. I'm going to use the control knob here. The control knob is very nice. It feels like a single click on the knob moves the selector by 1 unit, which is better than some of the other printers I have. The CR10, CR10S, and even the CR10S Pro kind of aren't super accurate sometimes. So this is pretty nice. I'm going to try to auto home, home all, and just see how quiet this is. I know it's supposed to be pretty quiet because of the new stepper drivers here. So, oh yeah, it's extremely quiet. You could just barely hear the motors. The fan is much louder. I'm going to put this right up to a motor. You just barely hear it. The stepper is extremely silent. Definitely love those drivers. Let's see if the Z end stop needs to be adjusted. It looks like it's pretty good. It's already very close. I'll still have to level this, I'm sure, even if it was fine-tuned. The leveling is done with these bolts and nuts here. Doesn't appear that there were any knobs, 3D printed ones or otherwise. So it's got to be done with a wrench. Though I'm sure I will 3D print some knobs to make this much easier in the future. There's a close-up of the extruder. It's pretty much what it looks like, you know, on the Fit for Launch page. All those breakaway connectors. It's kind of messy looking, but it probably gets the job done. Just have to kind of be careful, I guess, when you're putting the filament in. We've got the filament slots, which are definitely numbered. So those are 2 and 3. This is 0 and 1. So it's nice that they labeled them that way. So, as I mentioned before, there's no silicone sock or any kind of insulation on this heat block, so I'm not really sure how the temperature control is going to be. I don't even know if I can get a sock to fit that, but I do have insulation I can wrap on it if needed. And you can see the 3D printed quality of the fan mounts. It's not the worst. It's probably functional, which is really all that matters. Okay guys, so I have a test print going here. This is a color blending test that I had started. You may recognize it as the salamander from Thingiverse. So it took me a little while to kind of figure out how to get color blending to work. I initially was trying to do color mixing and color blending in Simplify 3D, which is my go-to application, but it doesn't seem to work very well. You have to do a lot to get it working. And it didn't really seem worth the effort for the most part. I did do a couple of dual color tests. Not really supposed to be for quality, but more for the functionality. And I'd say they succeeded in that respect. I did some single color tests just to see what kind of actual quality I could get in a print. And I'm not going to lie, it's one of the cleanest prints I've ever gotten out of any of my printers. My CR10 probably produces the cleanest prints that I get. And this definitely looks better than a lot. I actually have another test cube here for my CR10. And it's pretty good. But you can clearly see there's a lot more artifacts in the print. I haven't tuned it up in a while though either. So yeah, print quality is pretty good, though I did pay for the fine tuning on this printer, so I'm glad it shows. But yeah, so right now, like I said, I'm doing this blending test. I'm using Voxelizer 2. It's really the only application I know of that can do this right now. And what it's doing is it's mixing colors together. These are the colors I have right now. They're not the official M3D color blending colors. They are AIO. It's just from a box I had gotten a long time ago. I never really used them. So this isn't magenta, it's purple. This isn't quite cyan, it's light blue. And this is basically just yellow. But in Voxelizer, you don't have to have the exact right colors because you can put in any color you want to mix, and it will give you a color swatch with all the mixes you can actually make out of it. And then you just make those blends in the program, and voila. That's what you get out of it. So I have a pretty cheap setup going up right now. I have 3 rolls on this one really cheap mount that I got here, and then I have them coming up around here with black coming into the key slot. But yeah, this printer is extremely quiet. The fans are obnoxiously loud, but the motors are so quiet, it's almost like it's not even running. So I'm extremely happy with that. The quality of this print is coming out pretty well as well. Looks like there's some stringing, but I kind of did this fast anyway. I wasn't really looking for quality. I was looking for the functionality. And the blending is almost perfect to what I set it for. And this isn't even calibrated filament. Those strings will come right off. And the actual layers are pretty good. Pretty fine. So you guys know, in case you don't already, this is a 7mm wrench. You can actually use this to level your bed. A 9/32 wrench also fits. Or if you can get a socket to fit under there. I couldn't get a socket to fit. So I'm still going to 3D print some knobs, but might print some colorful ones. Alright guys, so I think that's going to be pretty much the end of this video. I plan on doing some 3D modeling and some tutorials in the future. I'm definitely going to be doing more with this printer. So just stay tuned on my channel if you want to see more. And if you do want to see more, just let me know down in the comments. Definitely not an expert with this printer yet, or Voxelizer, or color mixing in general. But if anyone's got any hints or tips for me, that would be awesome as well. And if there's anything else you'd like to see me do, just let me know. Okay, see you guys in the next one. This is Wick. He's one of my cats. He has nothing to do with 3D printing except that he keeps me company. He's my best friend.